Well, the countdown to December 25th is underway. Joy to the World is being heard on the airways. But somehow, for so many, it's not joy that's being felt. Rather, it's stress. Stress over decorating, shopping, the cost of it all, planning. The big one is stress over the myriad of emotional issues that comes to this time of year, it seems. For some, it's grieving about who or what might be missing. For others, it's those family issues that put a knot in the stomach, an ache in the heart, or a pain in the neck. And this time of year seems to bring so many of those emotional family issues to a rapid boil. And so we're talking about surviving the season, getting through it. That seems out of kilter somehow. Surviving the happiest time of year? Getting through it? How and when did the joyful anticipation of friends and family and laughter and celebrating and hearing the bells ring, when did that turn into anticipation of joyful relief? I recently watched an old movie called Christmas Vacation starring Chevy Chase. It's a wild and funny exaggeration of all that is crazy about this time of year, yet it strikes at the core of why, sadly, our thoughts turn to surviving the season instead of appreciating it like a warm bubble bath. I think I could use one of those right now. My son Charles, with 3 tours of duty in Iraq behind him, and exposure to the underbelly of human degradation, cruelty, and violence, would say about surviving the holiday season in America, he'd say something like this: Mom, that's a first world problem. Indeed, survival for the majority of people in what we call the third world is surviving starvation, surviving another day without shelter or water or fear of death. My mother always reminded me to put things in perspective. And a pithy saying that helps me do that is, I think of this one: I complained that I had no shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. Now, I will not dismiss the heartaches, the belly aches, or the headaches that are very real suffering for too many. But perspective has its place in getting our attention and turning our minds and hearts in a different direction, away from the emotional mayhem that steals our joy. C.S. Lewis's tale, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, comes to mind. So much of this time of year is like the Turkish delight in that story. Turkish delight, a candy that one of the children in the story had to have, and which put him and his siblings in great peril, under great stress, and into survival mode to somehow escape from the witch and rescue Edmund from the witch's clutches. You see, Edmund had been captured by the witch, who enticed him away from what was real and important. What's important and what's real for you? The fantasy is what distracts us. The fantasy of Christmas, the fantasy of the perfect family, the perfect decorations, the perfect tree, the perfect Christmas dinner, and the perfect Christmas day. You know what it all is? Fantasy. That's a fantasy. The celebration that matters is it's Jesus' birthday. That's what's real. And why does that birth matter? It matters ironically because that amazing birth was intended to set us free from all this enslavement of the world's version of what brings us happiness and joy. Fantasy is nice, it has its place, but we shouldn't be deceived by it. Nor should we let our fantasies about what we would like the season to be steal the joy of the reality of what it really should be. After all, the sweet Turkish delight candy, Edmund, in C.S. Lewis's tale, turned bitter for him because he allowed the fantasy to replace reality. Aslan, the lion, who symbolized Jesus in the story, ransoms him. In 1 Peter 1 through 19, we are reminded, you were ransomed from the futile ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things like silver and gold, but with the precious blood of Christ. That perspective thing, you see. Peter walked on water as long as he kept his eyes on Jesus. Getting distracted from Jesus steals our joy, our contentment, and our peace. Staying focused on the gift that keeps on giving, Jesus, enables us not to just survive the season, but to thrive through it with the peace of God that passes understanding. So when you're feeling distracted, can't breathe, and are tempted to just run away from it all, take your eyes off the glittery tree and look at the baby in the manger. Let Jesus' lullaby bring you back to what is real, what is true, and will get you through so you can sleep in heavenly peace. Have a blessed day.